Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of the headliner. As a recap, we're putting a headliner in a Beetle, and we've got this side tucked around this edge here, and then we have this edge here glued and pushed up in place with our quick edge for our pop-out window, and that's going to hold it in place. And we put a little tension on it, and we got quite a bit of the wrinkles out. Our pleats aren't exactly perfect, but you know, I don't think we'll go to the gulag for that. There is a little wrinkle there and there. I might want to get out the heat gun and melt a hole right through the headliner to fix. And I don't know. I might not. I don't know. So I went over to this side, and I'm working this side also. And I got that tucked up there just as we did the other. And we're working this one also. There's a wrinkle right here and back here, and you know, crappeth not thou pants, okay? You can just pull this down and give it a little bit more tension on there, and that'll come right out of there. Don't think once you've stuck that on there it's the end all to end all. You can pull this down and work it, and you can work it back and forth until you get your desired tension. I'm about right here. But I'm going to take this down and give it a little bit more of a pull and tuck that back up there. And then I think we're going to work on this back glass piece. Again, don't lose your mind if you get a little glue seeping through. You can always get rid of it. All you got to do is get yourself a little GA on there, and or probably some WD-40 or something will take that off there, just like that. Get it while it's wet. And come right off there. There you go. Now, I think I've got my desired tension. It's not too bad, although the pleats don't match. They're close, but what are you going to do? I'm not a perfectionist. There is a small piece of foam padding that's missing, so I'm going to cut a little V and I'm going to put a section there. And the reason being is when we wrap this on there, it'll have a little divot in it. So we don't want that little divot. So make sure that's all one, you know, it's relatively neat, okay? Because if it's really ratty, it'll show up in your final product. Now, looking at that, completely missed the mark on that, didn't I? It'll be okay. Okay, it's my contention that this piece go on, and I'll tell you why. I don't know. But the way this is assembled, it would seem like the piece would tuck in here and then kind of go under these flaps and tuck in. And then once we glue that all on there and it's set and dried for a day, we can wrap it around it. Like I said, this takes several days. And then the other piece is going to fit in these grooves. And then it's going to wrap around these grooves and come down here and finish out and lay down there. Now, if it were the other way around, it can't be, because it's got to be. It has to be done that way. It doesn't have to be. Of course not. You can mix it all up in a 5-gallon bucket and throw it in the back if you want to. Just trying to do this the best way I know how. So that's what I'm going to do next, is this piece. This piece here it looks like it was conveniently folded right in the center, but it was not. It was conveniently folded just to thwart your progress. So, you know, all this stuff could come in a flat box, not folded. But it didn't. So I marked in the center of that, and I'm going to find the center of this also and put a little mark there so I know that I'm even on both sides. Okay, we're going to get some glue up there and some glue on the back of this, make our marks, and I'll start stuffing that up in there. We've got our glue on both the foam and the vinyl piece. To find the center of this, you can use the slots in your cooling deal. On this car there's 51 for each state the humble Volksy was going to conquer, and if you go right in the center is 25, and you know, 25 holes, there's a bar. You go right up through there and you can make a mark, and that's the center of your, of course, where the back glass is going to go, or where this piece of vinyl is going to go. So got my putty knife, and this ought to prove humorous as well. I don't expect this to fit, simply because none of the other stuff fit. So why would this? So I'm going to kind of stick this up here and kind of find my center and give this a little tuck. Maybe. I can. I'd like this to stick a little better. What are you going to do? Yes, as in all other cases with this stuff, it's not cut correctly. So it's cut for a, I don't know what it's cut for, but it's not cut for this car. They just give you more than you need, and I don't know. So, which is okay, you know. I mean, I'm not complaining. The material's pretty good. It's pretty fair, but it just seems like you would be able to, you know, it seems like you would be able to get what you paid for. They would have specific ones that were snot on. That would be neat. That would be really cool. Let's see if I can stick that up there. This part really helps where you're, where you've let your, let your material dry a little bit, tack up, so it, yeah, let's see here. Now, another thing I want to tell you about these headliners is they are notoriously full of folds. Folding, folding, folding. So, let's see that. I don't know if I want to cut that yet. Let's tuck that in there. Get that tucked in there. Let's do the other side so you'll know, you'll see, be able to see a little better. There we go. Let's do this side. Let me not get my big head in the way. Let's see, it's got to go, well, let's see here, it's got to go down there. So, maybe, I know a fold is in order, just got to figure out where you're going to fold that at. Right there. There's a lot of there's a lot of folds in a Volkswagen headliner, I can tell you that. Sure is a lot of folds. It's not like, it's not one continuing, running, beautiful piece. It's not like that. There's a lot of folds. We have a lot of glue coming through. Again, don't fret, because it'll be okay. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. What are we gonna do? All right. Give this a little trim, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna trim along. Let's see if we can get this here. Come on, baby. I ought to have a fresh razor blade. I think this one's cheesed. That's better than kicking the pants, huh? And now we'll go like that. How about that? What's that look like? Well, I've completely ruined it. What we do is tuck that in there, about like that. Bring this piece. That cut wasn't very straight, that's for sure. Get a better razor blade to cut that better. You know what I probably could have done is folded it a little bit. Probably folding it would have been a lot wiser decision. Probably what I'll do to the other one is I'll fold it and I'll tuck it in there. I wonder if I can have a little more. Okay. Just a little more. Can I have a little more? Yeah, just a little more. There you go. Now, let's have a look at that. Stick that down there. Yeah. Don't worry too much about this seam here. Don't worry about this seam, because this piece here that tucks in here comes high, and it comes right up over the top, so you can fold it and you can tuck it right over the top, so you won't really see it. So you can just tuck that inside here. About like that. Hope you guys can see. Hope I'm not too much in the way. Like that. There you go. Now, what I can do with this, I can give this a little fold like I should have done to begin with, and tuck it in there. Like that. Yeah. Have some brown 25 in there or something, keeping it from going in there as it should. There we go. Now, once I got that in this position like this, that other piece is going to hook in there and wrap around, so you're not going to see that. So, and it's going to cover up all this. And you'll be able to slice in like this, cut like this, and come up around and wrap your pinch weld. So you should be good. All right, let me get the rest of this up here, and I'll let you have a look at what I got. I'm going to put a little more glue on that material. And then we're going to give it a, and put it up. This doesn't need to be very taut. Again, it's just kind of a piece that goes on there, and it's not very tight, really. It's, you know, it's not like the headliner. It's just a piece that kind of goes on there. So we'll dress up our pinch weld with some glue, and then we'll put another piece of quick edge around there. Probably from that quarter glass, because that one's already dried. We'll take that off and we'll use that quick edge to fix that up. After your glue sets up for a little bit, you know, a minute or so, depends on how warm it is. Kind of cold right now. Take your quick edge, and remember, we're not looking for a banjo here, okay? We're not going to be playing any banjos here. So it doesn't need to be really tight, because the more you get it tight, the more it's likely to pull off of your foam. You know, your foam is just, it's not a lot there. And again, if you use clamps, you're going to put pinch marks in it. And also, when you do this, it sets you up for your back glass rubber to fit properly, because you have your vinyl squeezed down good on either side. Let's see what we got here. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. The more cuts you make in this, the more malleable this material is. If you know, if you don't cut it, it's hard to get around the corners. So you want to make corner cuts in it. I would think. I did. Again, this is a second one of these I've ever done in my life. And the first one was one of those $59 J.C. Whitney jobs. As I can recall, it wasn't off-white like this, it was just white. Like translucent white. If I'm rambling, it's because of the glue. Blame it on the glue. It's the glue, I'm telling you, the glue. Okay. Now, you can massage this by removing that. Now it's the next day. Let's have us a little look at what we got here. Razor blades are cheap, so use a fresh razor blade when you do these. If you don't use one, use three. It'll keep you from tearing and keep your cuts nice and neat and that sort of thing. And it's about the process of cost of doing business kind of a thing. And since we've done this with the quick edge from our quarter glass, as I said before, it'll give us another nice pinch in which to set our oh, that's still sticky. Take you off here. It'll give us a nice little lip in which to set our back glass. As you can see, it's a nice little lip, and so when we flip our rubber over, it'll have the proper where it needs to go. This is still wet. I'm going to take this off there and let it dry a little bit. It's been sitting overnight, but it's been cold, so kind of traps the solvent inside that piece of quick edge, but we've got it stuck pretty good. So let me finish cutting this off there, and then we'll pull that quick edge off, and then we'll work on our lower piece, I think, next. This is the side piece, and the side piece is going to have a cutout here for your window for back here. So it's going to go inside like that. Okay. This has a little plastic gizmo, and what you do, I figured out, you can do, I don't know if this is right or not, again, is you can take it and you can roll it about 3 times. So it's nice and thick, and as you roll it more, it hides the fact that we didn't cut this piece on the side correctly, right here. So if you stuff that in there like that, you don't see the material where it wasn't cut enough. Essentially, this piece here, and we'll go over all of this later in the end of the video, and I'll put a comment that says you need to look at the end of the video before you go and attempt this, because I'm just flying by the seat of my pants right now. Okay, so this tucks in here, and it looks like it could be quite easily folded and manipulated to fit over this piece here, just like that, so that when your lower piece here will go over the top. Of course, you'll do a little let's see here. You'll give it a little sassafras flip, just like that. Now, you're going to have three pleats right there, so I don't know if you want it like that or not. Maybe I could probably go under this one, since this goes down so far, and that would be probably the proper way. Probably none of these ways that I'm showing you is the proper way. So you'll have that piece that goes down and that piece that goes down. But as long as it's uniform on both sides, I think it should be pleasing. And that's the idea, is to make it pleasing. And if it looks pleasing to the eye, unless you compared it to one that was exactly, yeah. So we could probably do that. I would probably do it that way. And that way these two pieces can run their full length, and the carpet will cover, and there'll just be a little V there, and that's the way it'll have to be. This will have to tuck, as well as this will have to tuck as well. You'll have to do a little cut up here, but I'll show you that, and it'll have to fold around like that. Also, I think what I want to do is I want to continue some foam going right to your quarter panel inserts. So I'm going to have foam that's going to go all the way to there. I'll see if I can get some more of this big foam, whatever was left from cutting it, and I'm going to piece it in there. So when you glue this down, it doesn't have a big hump right there. And it shouldn't have a big hump right there. It should go gradual into the quarter panel. Yes, I think. And then once we get that on there, and we can put the uprights on. And I think the last piece that we're going to put is the lower section of the quarter, and we can do a sassafras flip on either side, and just kind of there, just fold it on either side and put it down. And I think that's a good game plan. So we're going to stick with that game plan, and I'll let you know if things change. But like I said, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, and I'm doing the best I can with what I have to work with, which is nothing. So I've got nothing, and I'm all out of ideas. Let me get started on this. Got a battery light again. Change the battery and get started on this, and I'll show you how far I've gone and if I can come up to some sort of idea to give you where to proceed from here exactly. What? Yeah. I have marked where I think that foam's going to need to go. Just a little bit more right there. And I used the stuff, you can't see it, that I cut off from this piece up here. I have some extra here. So I cut a piece for this, and I cut a piece for this side. Doesn't need to be perfect, but I think if I put that on there, it'll drop and you'll see it. And so I don't want it to drop until it gets to this line. When it gets to this line, it can drop a little more and you won't see it so much. It'll taper off gradually. So let's get those glued up. Nearly forgot, but you better find those holes for your quarter glasses, because you sure as hell won't find them after you get the headliner in, that's for sure. And you'll be boring new holes through your... Yeah, so... don't know how I'm going to do this and put it over yet. I'll let you know. This might be the hardest piece I've ever had to work with so far. Of course I rolled it. I rolled it 3 times. I glued it and then I rolled it 3 times and I stuffed it in there. And I pulled this up a little bit and I stuffed it up this way, the whole thing, and then stuffed it all in there. And then when I pulled it over, I couldn't get my sticks exactly right through here, so I have relatively... But here's the deal: is when you put the quarter glass in, you're going to be relatively in the... Yeah, so I might reach through there with a screw, maybe a sheetrock screw, and see if I can't find it and start it, and then I'll have 3 sheetrock screws going through there, or just barely going through there or something. Sheetrock screw's got a big bite on it, that's why I would use something like that. And so I folded this and pulled this back down, this piece from the headliner, and I tucked it up underneath and then pulled it all. Also, the piece that I had glued in there, don't do that, because it wants to come down like this, it wants to form naturally like this. And I believe probably these pieces that I'm going to put in there they're going to have a fold down here. Well, the bottom pieces here will fold it, and it will fit correctly. It'll look right. So there you go. Now we have these two flaps, and this one's got a lot of wrinkles, but we're going to pull this back, and this lower section right here is going to go right here. I'm going to do a fold, and it's going to go right down here, probably as close as we can, and that way it will bring it down, and it'll cover a lot of the wrinkles that are on this one, so you won't see that as bad. And that'll cover probably down to about here where our carpet will pick up, and our carpet picks up right here as well. So I think that's pretty close. It's pretty good. Again, we used our quick edge, and I keep using that word quick edge. That's what that's what I taught it was. That's what I was taught it was. So a couple of little problems we have. I have a bigger one over here, and we have a small one right here. But probably what I can do is I can cut a little bit of fabric and tuck it in there and tuck it in, and so you won't see it so bad. Just a little piece, and we'll very gingerly tuck that and glue that in there, and I think that'll look okay. It's not too wrinkly, but I think that'll pass. That'll be okay. What do you want? Okay. Now, since we have that piece on, we'll start working on this side if my phone will leave me alone. Oh, rain today. We got both sides in, and as I said, I took this piece of foam out, and it makes the transition quite a bit nicer. I folded and tucked this under, and we folded and tucked that, and that seemed to work all right. Now I'm putting on my rear apron part right there, and I flipped that, gave it a little tuck, and I'm going to push that up in there and put the quick edge on there, and then I'm going to clean my hands, and I'm going to go inside with a heat gun and see if I can't heat this up a little bit because it's cold out, and get this glue to set a little faster. Well, there's that. Whether or not it's supposed to look like that, I don't know. But that's the way mine looks now. So, your carpet's probably going to come up to here and come down. So, and then you're going to have carpet pieces over this also. So it's going to cover quite a bit of that, I would imagine. But the sides aren't too bad. We kind of know where our holes go for our screws for our vent glasses. So with that done, now we can work on these side pieces here. So let's see how that's going to go on. Alright, I've marked this piece with my pen and cut it, and we're going to do a little sassafras flip here like this, and it's going to correspond with right here. It's going to come down like this, and this piece here, right here, taps into these pieces right here. So let's flip this over, and we'll put that in there, and then once we get this all pounded in, we can put some glue on it and pull it around. hard to do with one hand. Give that a little fold at the top, and then see how that's going to fit. So we can start putting some glue on it and put her together with our quick edge. You can glue a little bit at a time, I guess, and then work your way down. So let's get that on there. A little more probably. Maybe like that. I folded this and I think I'm going to glue it right down. Made a couple of cuts here. Yeah. I think that'll be presentable. That's about as far as I can go. I'm going to have to let all this stuff dry. Got some clamps here. Now, when you get past about this point here, you know, all this down here you're not going to see because of the division bar and because of your back seat and your panel. Now your panel is going to, when we put that panel in there, that's going to tighten things up a little bit. So if you have a little section here that's giving you a little problems, remember that that panel, when that panel goes in there, it'll push it on there and help deform it. So, but other than that, it's very pleasing and really nice actually. So that's as far as I can go. I'm going to have to let this set. And then the last two pieces are the sections that go. They connect this piece here with the perforated piece. So can't remember. I think they are leatherette like that instead of looking like a headliner. And then we're going to touch up that section right there and that section right there with a little piece of material, and we'll call this job done. Well, we're all done with our rein, and I took the pieces off the pinch welds of the car. So there you go. And let's have a look at what we got. Now, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's not horrible either. So, here we go. A little glue there. Rub that off. So that's not too bad. Focus. There you go. It's a little better. Okay, so the next pieces are the ones that drape over the top. It's the last two, and they're perforated pieces. And I think how I'm going to do this, they're going to have to be folded. You can't just lay them down like this. So they're going to have to be folded and then tucked on there, and should be a relatively simple process. Okay, let's get this going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out and I'm going to put a fold in each end and then paint this all up with some glue and wrap it around and put a piece of car went by, sorry. Put a piece of quick edge down there, and that'll hold it in place so I can wrap it around the body here. I think that'll work just fine. You're going to need 2 quarts. I had 1 quart and 2 pints. That's 2 quarts, half gallon. I put some here and here, and I'm going to fold it so it sticks, and then this part's going to go right here, and I'm going to put my quick edge on, and I've got this glued down here, so this will flip all over. Again, don't worry about getting too much out this way or this way, because it wipes off. This is going to be the final time you put your quick edge on. Get your plastic pieces that cover the inside, and remember the quick edge is just an edge that trims this out, and this plastic piece covers it. And find the 5 holes in between, I have circled, and see that the plastic holes match these 2. Okay, and then come up about 1/2 inch, or come down about 1/2 inch from where this is, and make a line. Now you need to at least have your quick edge to here and to here, going all the way around. The hinge will go in here, and more than likely it'll be just enough to cover this. So that's something to think about, because we're going to put this quick edge on for the last time. Fold in it like that and like that, and then this edge is going to go just over the pinch weld. Okay, there will be little or none, because it's so easy. It's just one piece. It's got to flip over. Don't cut this off yet until you know for a fact that your quarter glass is going to fit in there and it's going to be all right. More than likely you have to cut these. Never done this before, I don't know. Better to cut later than sooner, my opinion. Give it a little wrap like this. We're not looking for any banjos here. We just want to get the wrinkles out of it. No wrinkles. Now, once we get down to where the the panel here fits, I don't care how many wrinkles is in it, because you're not going to see it. But something like this, you're going to have to pull that back up again. And get that out of there. So again, the glue that seeps through, don't freak out. You can just wipe it off with some gasoline on a rag. Once you have that around there, you can just trim it off with a razor blade, or you can just leave it if you want to just leave it, because it's not going to cause any problems really. I mean, the panel's just going to go over the top of that. So we'll have to find the holes after, when we get panels and after it dries and stuff, but that won't be too hard. I have to clean that off. Okay, let's do the other side. The last thing I want to show you is putting your dome light in. Put your fingers up here and feel, kind of find the center, and then just put a slit in it. Don't go all the way to the edge, and don't cut it all out like this. Okay, just put a slit in it. That's all you need, all right? And then this will fit up in there. But schemy as they are, they did not put a bulb in this. So I looked for my other one that I fixed, and I'm not going to put that one in there because it looks atrocious. That one doesn't have a bulb either, so yeah, there you go. I can't put the bulb in there. But you'll be able to just clip that in there just with a slot, because I did that to my other one and there is a gap up here. You could see it. It kind of pissed me off because I got it all done, and there you go. Okay, there you go. Oh, I've got one more thing I can do. I forgot to do earlier, and that is this. I've never had one of these. In the 5 Beetles I've had, this is the 5th one. Hey, the 5th Beetle. Yes, sir. Oh, goodness gracious, look at that. And probably have to trim stuff on it in order to make it fit, because it's a Wolfsburg part. Yeah, we'll have to look at that. Yeah, she doesn't want to go up on there. Well, I'll have to look at that, but I'm going to do that. Okay, we're finished. So I hope you enjoyed the headliner. It seems like all these schemy wrinkles that were in there kind of came out, so it doesn't look too bad. And I'm going to recap all what we did and go over this bit by bit, and that way you can forward in this video and get an idea, because I was doing this flying by the seat of my pants. So let's get an idea of what we did. Sharp. You got to kind of squeeze it and push it in, kind of a deal. Nice. Never had a cap for my fuses before. Excellent. This is a little list I thought I'd share with you. I'll give you a minute to look at it. Save. And then I'll flip it over and let you look at it also. And then I'll go over it. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is about a 6. For some people it might be a 10, for others it might be a 3. Depends on your ability. Artistic fashion, or artistic ability plays a lot to do with this. Things you're going to need: clamps, some cutters, a putty knife. You really need a putty knife. Some old pieces of quick edge or some new quick edge. You're going to need 4 pints, or a pint and a quart, or a half a gallon, or 2 quarts of really sticky stuff. And this is what I'm using. I'm not sponsoring them, but it worked pretty well. That cleans up with a little gasoline and paper towel. Razor blades, shears, scissors, lots of time, days, warm days, or a warm place to work it. A lot of patience. Take your time. This took me, I probably got 6 hours in this. So maybe not, maybe 5, I don't know. I didn't clock myself, but it seems like it took a lot to do this. It wasn't fun, but I did enjoy doing it, though. It's something, you step out of your comfort zone and do. Okay, the Beetle 6567 has a cardboard piece, and it fits up into this slot here, okay, and as well as the back. I don't know about the back on a 68 or newer, but I do know on a 68 or newer, this headliner comes right down here and wraps right over the pinch weld. So once you get that bow up there, probably the first thing you're going to do is wrap it around there and glue it and put a piece of quick edge on there and hold it in place. Remember, I told you that the clamps, they're going to leave clamp marks, and if you use that quick edge, get a piece here, find a little piece, and you put it up there, and what that'll do is it will squeeze it on there, and it will make a really nice seam like that. Okay. Second thing I did, I think I did it wrong. So if I had my druthers to do it over with, I would glue and clamp the back glass piece and the quarter glass panel pieces, or quarter panel pieces. And I would probably I would probably get those set in there, and I would start with the back glass first, the back portion, and that is this portion right here, the one that goes up like this. Make sure you get it tucked into those. It's going to have to be cut, so make sure you get it tucked into those clamps very well, and then so there's nothing showing. Then roll that quarter panel piece once or twice, glue it and roll it. You seen in the video, and then stuff it in there. But make sure you've got it quite a ways up there, so your main headliner piece will fold over and cover it. And the reason why I'm doing these pieces first is I had to tuck and pull my main headliner piece down so I could go over the top of it. I don't know if this is right or not, so I'm just guessing and by goshing. But while I did it, I would do it this way now. I would do my lower panel for my back glass thirdly. So I'd put this piece up first, and then the quarter pieces, the quarter panel pieces, and then this piece in last. And of course I would use the quick edge around here to make a nice deal. Okay, next. Oh, I didn't go over something first. If your car has foam in it already or insulation in it, you don't have to put insulation in it, but if you want to put insulation in it, the pieces fit in it, and it's pretty straightforward, and it shows you where they go, and you can figure it out. However, they need to be cut. All these pieces do not fit properly. They all need to be cut. If you buy bows, you need to cut them. So don't throw all your parts away. Take pictures of your seams and stuff before you take your headliner down. You might think that, geez, my headliner is just terrible. It's all rotten and ripped up. It shows you where the seams are, and make note of where the seams go, and you can work backwards and figure out how that all goes together, because I don't know. It was gone. So all the foam is pretty straightforward. All the foam padding was pretty straightforward. So after we have the back glass and quarter panel pieces on, what I would do is I would take your rods, and if you have to make rods, measure them first. The rear two, there's 5 in this car. 68, I don't know. This is 65 to 67, should be the same. And there's 5 here, and the rear ones were a little bit bigger, longer. And I bowed them a little bit. And then I put them in the deal, and I cut the loop where you put it through. I cut it about 5 inches in the front, That's 2.5 on either side. And I cut it back here about 8 inches, which is about 4 inches in on either side here. Okay, what does that do? I've seen a lot of guys, and I looked up in their headliners that they put on, and it looks like a circus tent up here. And what that does, when you cut back far enough here, it puts the pleat. Oh, I did that for the last 3. 1, 2, 3. So not for the last 2. The last 3 I cut. Okay, about 4 inches on either side, and that allows you to pull that, and you eliminate the bagginess of your headliner. Now these 2 right here, were only cut about 2.5 inches in. So 5 inches in total. You do it equal on both sides, so it looks the same. So your pleats look the same down the side there, and your pleats look the same on this side. Pleats. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's where it bends right there. I don't know if that's correct or not. So, when you do that this way, it's my opinion that you will not have to put little pieces of material up there and glue them in place because you didn't have this set right. So you can learn from me. I can make the mistakes on my car, and you can have a perfect headliner. You're welcome. Don't fret if you get some glue on this. It cleans up with a little gasoline and a rag. And you can pull your bows out like back as you're working backwards, and you can get the proper tension. Now, when you start your headliner, you tuck this piece in right here, and it's got a cardboard piece in there, and you put your little hook tool in there, and you pull down, and you work it around, and it hooks that cardboard in there so you can pull it tight. And then you have to do a little fold right there and right there. And then take your putty knife, and you have to stuff that up in there. If you want to, dip your putty knife in glue and stuff it, glue, stuff it, glue. It'll help too, because it'll glue that up there. If it doesn't stay in place, take it all down and whack it with a rubber hammer. Pop, 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 and close up that gap. Okay? Then you can stuff it up in there. When you get to here, you have to make a cut. So you make a cut so the piece will lay along this edge in here like this. Then you can make several cuts. Zip, 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 zip. Fold this rear section. Fold this section right here. Fold it, and you can pull it around. And of course, everything is glued. You have to glue everything, and you have to glue your pinch weld, and then you push your quick edge on there, and it holds it in place. Okay, that's the main headliner. Now, to get it taut, to get your pleats taut, where it doesn't have bags here, you just pull it farther. Now, if it's still baggy, you haven't cut enough, and it's not allowing the headliner to pull. So you have to cut those little loops, the little loops that the rod goes in. You have to cut those. Okay. So let's see what's next. I think since we have all that done, the next thing we would have to do is put our B-pillar moldings on. Now these right here, here's your B-pillar, your A-pillar, B-pillar, C-pillar. Okay, your B-pillar moldings right here, they push in there, they hammer in, and then you can pull the material around this way, and you can take a rubber hammer, or you can even take a ball peen hammer, the ball peen end of it, and tap those little clamps. So it clamps it all in place. And then of course you work it over just the same way you've done there. You do a little fold here, right there, a little fold. And you work it down best way you know how. Okay, and then around this edge here, I had it cut like zip, 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 and I had it folded around. I used these clamps right here to clamp it in place. Okay, then once that was done, then we were able to put this section here on. So what I did is I glued it all up with a paintbrush and glue, and I folded the edge on either side, and I wrapped it around this, and then I put my quick edge on. Now, before I put my quick edge on, I made where my holes were for my flip out windows. If you don't have flip out windows and you're still using quick edge, that's fine. You don't have to worry about what I'm going to tell you here. And your quick edge is going to be cut here and here, about 3/8 of an inch or so, because the plastic pieces inside that cover the screws on your hinge, the quick edge not only holds your headliner and your vinyl in place, but it also trims out the interior, and the plastic piece that goes over the top of that will trim that out. So this is made too big, of course, because it comes from Wolfsburg, so you have to take and cut it to fit it. You know, everything's artistic here, I guess. Nothing fits exactly. And there certainly isn't any decent directions they sell. The dollar directions they sell are technical directions, so I don't know if you're going to be able to get anything out of that, but I will post them. I will take pictures of them and I will post them. And that one on the other side as well. When you get done with these, you have to let it dry. A hair dryer or a heat gun, but I would use a very low setting and be very careful not to burn your vinyl. Any questions? So, yeah, there you go. There's a surmisal of what we do, surmising of what we've done. Additionally, I have saved a couple of pieces of vinyl, and what's going to happen is if I poke a hole in it, I can glue it on there in some sort of fashion, and maybe I can make it look right. Maybe it'll be big as like a sore thumb, and you can't. But maybe you might be able to. So save a little bit of that, and even this tiny little bit of glue that's in there, save that. Don't throw it away, because by God, you're going to need it, and you'll have to go down to the Lowe's and buy another quart of this stuff for $15. So you don't want to do that. It's about $30 for the cement that you need for this. So you got to add that on top of that too. 2 quarts is what you're going to need. Wolfsburg West says 1 quart, but if you're putting the foam in, you need another quart just for the foam. There was a section here that was kind of difficult. It was the roof section up here of foam, and it was like a blanket. I folded it in half, and I made a mark so I could see it. And then I used the center of my rear view mirror after folded that in half and made a mark, and I could see exactly where it was going to go. Likewise, when I was laying the rear portion of it, I did the same thing here. And I did the same thing with the leatherette also, the actual headliner piece, And what I did is there's 50 slots back here, 1 slot for every state that the Volkswagen conquered. And so you go 25 over, which is right here, and there's 25 on the opposite side of it. So you have 1 bar right here. That's the center. And you can go right up through the center here, fold this piece in half, and you'll know exactly where the center is. That way you won't be too far this way, too far that way. Measurements and markings are a good idea. All right, let me show you the technical instructions that Wolfsburg sent me, so you won't have to pay $1 for this joke. Okay. These are the instructions that I bought for $1 from Wolfsburg. And I think indeed in here they have you do the back glass molding or vinyl pieces first, then the quarter panel pieces, and then I believe the main sunroof goes on. I'm going to flip through this as I tell you the story. That way you'll have this this information. A while back, and stop me if you've heard this story, a while back there was a department store, I will not mention any names, and they had a marvelous chocolate chip cookie. This gentleman, he came in and he wanted to buy chocolate chip cookie. He decided he would go and get some. So he wanted the chocolate chip cookies, and so he went and got a few and paid for them with a credit card and walked out. Got home and he looked at his receipt and he was charged $700 for the chocolate chip cookies. And so he went back to this department store. Like I said, stop me if you heard this. And complained that the department store charged him this much. And they said, oh, it wasn't a mistake. We charged you this much because we're charging you for the recipe. And he says, well, uncharge me for the recipe. Well, since you've already seen the recipe, we can't uncharge you for it, so you'll have to pay us. He says, if you can't fix this, I'm going to put this on my email and email it to every person I know and have them forward it. That's how I have this chocolate chip cookie recipe. Don't know if it's true or not, but there you go. So here's the chocolate chip cookie recipe that Wolfsburg sold me for $1. So, you know, I didn't find it very helpful. Maybe you will. So there you go. I'm about to lose my battery here, so I'm going to hopefully get this done and wish you guys many hopeful and helpful prayers that you do your headliner right, and may God grant you the serenity to do so. You know, thank you for liking and subscribing. Ring that bell if you want notifications, and you know, I'm going to keep plunking along here. I think my next video, since I have Headliner in it, will be something I'm well versed with, and that would be glass. So I'll show you my take on how to put glass in a Volkswagen. So anyways, that's it. That's the destructions, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being in my garage. Thank you for wrenching with me, and thank you for your support. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get this one out. See you later. Have a good one.